Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel.
Us in here, but this is about an oppressive, fucked up system designed to keep niggas down and shit. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. What about you, little nigga? You know about that?
Yes.
Oh, you know about that? Tell me what you know about that. Tell me what you think about that.
I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you gon' find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. Belly of the beast, we been living in hell. They like, damn Kai, how could you tell? Put us in the project, set us up to fail. Round here, bullets be flying like hell. Too many of my niggas either dead or in jail. Make a nigga work when you locked in a cell. Can't find work when you out on bail, but your homie got the work, so we passed you a scale. Got them birds like the Bible got quail. Niggas selling out cause they mama got bills. Turning to coons like Oprah and Gail. How you sell your soul just to get a little kale? They put you in a dress when you get a record deal. Wanna see a nigga getting high on pills? You can dance dance on a pole, you can sell that tail, but they never tell a nigga that he can go to Yale. We all created equal, that's white males. All lives matter, not black males. Another mother crying, another coffin got a nail. How many brothers out here got killed? How many of our sisters out here gotta heal? How many more caps gotta get peeled? We beef with each other so quick to pull the steel. George Zimmerman still alive and well. I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. I turn up when it's real in the field. Feel. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Feel. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. Feel. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. Chill. Yo, chill!
Industrial complex is a system situated at the intersection of government and private interests. It uses prisons as a solution to social, political, and economic problems. It includes human rights violations, the death penalty, slave labor, policing, courts, the media, political prisoners, and the elimination of dissent.
They just want us to die in silence. They just want us to die in silence. They just want us to die in silence. I might start me a fucking riot. Slave rebellion, no compliance. They just want us to die in silence. They murder minds like they got a license. I pray for the coronavirus to kill all of these violent tyrants. They prey on us like they poaching lions. World War III's on the horizon. Black and Hispanics form alliance. From the west coast to the islands, this pressure is making diamonds. They go waking sleeping giants. I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. I turn up when it's real in the field. Feel. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. But feel.
Nigga, did you just say what I was trying to say, but smarter? I like this little nigga. Us in here, but this is about an oppressive, fucked up system designed to keep niggas down and shit. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. What about you, little nigga? You know about that?
Yes?
Oh, you know about that? Tell me what you know about that. Tell me what you think about that.
I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you gon' find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. Belly of the beast, we been living in hell. They like, damn Kai, how could you tell? Put us in the project, set us up to fail. Round here, bullets be flying like hell. Too many of my niggas either dead or in jail. Make a nigga work when you locked in a cell. Can't find work when you out on bail, but your homie got the work, so we passed you a scale. Got them birds like the Bible got quail. Niggas selling out cause they mama got bills. Turning to coons like Oprah and Gail. How you sell your soul just to get a little kale? They put you in a dress when you get a record deal.
Yeah. Shalom, shalom, shalom. You in Loud Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, Priest and Captain, not Dr. Shah, here in the Isupk, the Biblical Scripture Breakdown class. Most High in Christ. How y'all doing? Shalom, Akim, Akwathi in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead, get it on everybody. Make sure you sign in for attendance, just like we always do. We're going to get into it tonight. All right. All right. Instagram, we up. Everywhere else, we up. Facebook, we up. Rumble, Twitch, we up. Okay, Most High in Christ. All right. So, in the room, what we have here, we got Shalom to the brothers, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham. To the sisters, Yahweh Shemor Alathan by Shem Yahweh Shah. All right, so we have Malachi chapter 4. Officer Matazar Korah is Malachi chapter 4, talking about World War III. Let's take a look. Malachi chapter 4, let's see what's in here. This fourth chapter of Malachi. Of course, everybody make sure that you type your questions in. Anybody got any questions, type them in there. Unlike the Christian church who does not know what's in the Bible, you understand, you can ask your questions and get an answer in the Bible. Yahweh Shemal Athaba Shem Yahushua, right? Malachi chapter 4 is this talking about World War III. Malachi 4. And all right. Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom on Instagram. Shalom, y'all. Make sure y'all sign up for attendance. All right. All right. Malachi 4. Burn as an oven, all the proud to do wickedly. Fear my name. The sun shall arise with healing wings. You shall tread down the wicked. Ashes under the soul. Remember the laws of Moses. Behold, I will send to you Elijah the prophet before the coming and great. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. The heart of the fathers turn to the children, the heart of the children, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Now, some of Malachi chapter 4, yes, the first half, you could use some of this talking about Malachi chapter 4 and verse 1. Okay, it's over there. All right. It says, for behold, that means look, the day cometh, talking about in the future. That's what it means when you hear the day cometh or it shall come to pass. That means something going to happen in the future that shall burn as an oven. Yes, Third World War III, the world's thermonuclear war is going to happen. It's going to burn like an oven. That's where the nuclear missiles are going to be launched. You've heard Russia talk about nuclear missiles. You've heard Korea always talking about nuclear missiles. China as well. World War III is on the horizon. This is prophesied in the Bible, also known as the War of Armageddon, also leading up to the return of Christ. All of these things are in the Bible. All right. Let's get it. All right. So Malachi 4 and 1, yes. This is talking about shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, all the proud, everyone who's pride is interested, says all that are proud. When President Biden announced on the most Catholic Christian day of all the Christians' calendar, which of course has nothing to do with the Bible, but on the trans reveal day, I guess if you're a man and you decide now that you want to be a woman, this is the day you're supposed to tell everybody, which apparently was Easter Sunday or Monday or however the hell they do that. But they made that something special for the alternative lifestyle people as well, for that community. Um, and strangely enough, they call it pride. Well, the Lord resisteth the proud. Everyone that refuses to hear the Most High's rules, don't want to listen to his prophets, want to continue to eat pork and go to church and join the customs of the other nations. All the nations themselves are proud. You understand? Of course, there's no salvation coming to them. If you are not Black, Hispanic, or Native American, then Christ did not give his life and be crucified on the cross for you to get salvation. Salvation is a heritage, something that is passed down from fathers to their sons, not from fathers to other men's sons. That's not what salvation is. That's not how the Bible works. So the proud, the ones that resist the Most High, continue to eat pork, continue to live alternative lifestyles of the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans, and the other nations who are proud that have risen themselves up above us while we are in captivity. They're feeding on us like the Elamites, the East Indians, the Moabites, the so-called Chinese and Koreans. You understand? The Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, the Hamites, the various Africans, you understand, have risen themselves up very proudly to speak against the children of Israel. Of course, the chief oppressor, the so-called the Edomites, the so-called white man, and all of his families, be it the Dutch, the Irish, the German, the Italian, the French, the British, Spain, Portuguese, You understand? The Russian one, all of those former Russian, Baltic, Nordic, Soviet states, all of them have risen themselves up against the children of Israel. They are very proud. You understand? And all that do wickedly shall be stubble. They're going to be burned. This is what the Christian church misrepresents because, again, they don't know the Bible as the lake of fire. They say that if you are bad, if you're a sinner, when you die after your life is over, you will go and be in the lake of fire, in which they call hell, according to the Christian church, which is absolutely 100% false. That is not what hell is, according to the Bible. The lake of fire is a one-time event with thermonuclear war. Real live missiles, not something magical, not some place you go when you die. Once your life is over, you don't have a body. So you can't burn forever without a body. You understand? So we went over reincarnation a couple of classes ago. Go back and check that out if you were not there, if you don't remember. But the lake of fire is talking when nuclear missiles are launched on the earth. When Russia and China, Iran, India, Pakistan, America, Great Britain, you understand, all the countries of the world that have nuclear missiles, that in Israel as well, they have nuclear missiles, is going to burn 2/3 of the planet. 2/3 of our people are prophesied to die. Countless numbers of all of the other nations of people, you won't be able to count them. These things that was mentioned in the book of Revelation is also why most preachers who are lying about God in the Bible and everyone else who makes a religion based on the Bible are also lying, like Rastafarianism, Judaism, Islam, everything else, taking pieces of the Bible to lie and make something for themselves and their people, which of course they do not understand at all because it's not for them. You understand? That is what it's talking about shall be stubble. Stubble is after you burn something up completely, whatever's the little rolling tumbleweeds around after everything is burned to hell, that's stubble. It's the rubble and the ashes of what's left. You understand? And the day that cometh, this particular day, not the days. Remember, every word you see in the Bible is important. That's why it says the day cometh. This is one particular day, not the days, plural, cometh. It says this one day. That's how you know it's only talking about this one time event. It says, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, the most high power. That's where you see the capital Lord. The word host means armies or who is alive. This is the real God of everything. You understand? That it shall leave them neither roots, nothing. Your roots is where you come from, your forefathers, your name, your heritage, all of that's going to be burned up. Your cathedrals, your religious places, your government, your military, your home, your jobs, your farms, nothing of substance so that you can say you have an identity. All of it's going to be burned up. No branches, no sons, children, no family lineage. All of that is going to disappear because the Lord is going to burn it all up because the wicked have resisted him for so very long. That's what we're leading up to. That's why Russia just got attacked with a terror attack to now go after the Arab world. That's why they declaring war on the Ukraine to move west. You understand? That's why Israel is at war with all the Arab nations that surround them, Lebanon and Syria. That's why America tried to pull out of the Middle East. Now they're being drawn back into the Middle East. It's why China is provoking a war to take Taiwan, provoking the Philippine Navy in the South China Sea, provoking the rest of the Asian nations around that area, provoking Japan to get back its military guards to prepare for war. You understand? And of course, all America and NATO's allies and the Axis powers in Korea, all of this is leading up to World War III. It's not in full 100% swing as it is, which of course the west coast of Africa, I mean, not the west, but the east side of Africa When you get to Egypt and Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea, Sudan, all of that is engulfed in war, has been for a very long time. You understand? Going further down the coast, that's why they're trying to scheme to get black people to move back to Africa, mainly the west coast of Africa, which is where they took us from, but Central Africa. And you understand a lot of those Western nations are poor, they don't have any money, they are being armed by the Russians to fight the rest of the Europeans to further weaken Europe and for a potential war where Russia has to continue west towards Poland and Belarus. They've been at a standoff for many years, for many couple of years now, and the rest of the European nations that have told their citizens to be prepared to fight a war on their territory. Britain did it, I believe France did it as well, told them to be prepared for war on their territory. The Ukrainians also fighting war on their territory because of Russia. All of these things are biblical prophecies that is leading up to what this Malachi is talking about, the nuclear war, the nuclear part of World War III. All right. So when you get to verse 2, but unto you that fear my name, which means to keep my commandments and obey the voice of the Lord, which is to keep his commandments, shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Meaning, talking about the Son of Righteousness, talking about, of course, Christ. That is our way out of World War III, because Christ is going to return during World War III with the 200 million angels and UFOs, also called as clouds or chariots in the Bible. That's why they made a space military. Even if you may not have understood or learned this about the Bible, the Department of Defense knows that Christ is going to return from outer space. That's why they made a space military. That's why they're in Haiti now with the coup and everything that you think, and they're trying to bring democracy to Haiti. They're there to steal the iridium, which is a non-corrosive material that they can make better missiles, better spacecraft, better things to put into space, better materials for bombs to prepare for this open-ended warfare that will take place all across the planet. You understand? That's what that is about. They never gave a damn about Haiti. They could care less about any Black, Hispanic, or Native American, but they need the resources. And politically, this is their way to justify any of the other evil that they plan on doing, just like they've always done. They bringing in the Kenyan army. Kenya. What is it? Is it Kenya or Uganda? One of those two. But they're bringing in several hundred of their military personnel to come onto the island of Haiti as well to do a military force for some reason, which makes no sense whatsoever to bring in Africans, especially from the eastern side of Africa, to go to Haiti to help with their civil unrest. It's all a damn scheme. You understand? Right now, we're looking at Malachi chapter 4 and verse 2. That's too much. Damn. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 2. All right, hold on. Let this be over. All right. So, Officer Mataza Al question he wanted to know was this about World War III. And I said the first few parts you can use for World War III. We're reading Malachi 4 and 2. So, like in the 4th chapter, the first verse, and now we're on the 2nd verse where it's talking about, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and he shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stall. A calf in the stall, when you raise cattle, they go into a stall when you maintain their hoofs. You understand? A calf is it's a small cow. Cows is a baby calf. That's why it says grow up. It's going to get stronger. Cow's a little small, little fat thing. You feed it milk, you feed it grass, it eats night and day. Before you know it, it's 1,800 pounds, 2,000 pound bull, all kind of things. So that's the metaphor is being used. Verse 3, It says, and ye shall tread down the wicked, meaning it's going to destroy the wicked. For they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this. Meaning the wicked that are again that don't want to obey the Most High. Right now, they have an empire to live in. You understand? They have religions that they can join. They can go join Esau's military if they want to be an unaliver. They can go get a badge and work for Esau's law enforcement if they want to, commit crimes and do robberies and abuses of power. They can go and serve the gods of the other nations. They can get high and smoke weed and cigarettes, all of which is against the Most High, smoking anything. They can be a drug dealer, which is a witch. They can be Muslims and Christians, which are serving the gods of the other nations. If you are an Israelite, they'll go have interracial marriages. They'll go have, you understand, be alternative lifestyle members. They'll go do these things which are against the Most High. And in America and in this empire, you'll get rights, you'll get special days, you'll have parades, you'll have ribbons, TV shows, you'll get, musical artists that'll cater towards you. Politicians will pass laws for you. You'll be protected under the Constitution. You'll have all of this wonderful power and support. You can go to church. The pastor will never tell you that being an LGBT member is against God, that a man is not allowed to pretend to be a woman, to dress like a woman, to carry himself like a woman, or to be an effeminate man with women or female qualities and tendencies. You're not allowed to do that at all. A woman is not allowed to portray herself as a man, dress as a man, teach the Bible, rule over a man. All of these things are against the Most High. These are evil, wicked things. Where in the day when Christ returns and this thermonuclear war, all of the people that are strengthened by this evil and all of the societies and governments that strengthen and pass legislation to give them their rights, God is going to burn them and all of those places up. There'll be dust. There won't be enough of it remaining for you to say, oh, that used to be Miami. That used to be Washington, D.C. Is that a piece of the capital? It's going to be vaporized when Christ returns. You understand? It'll all be dust. The drug dealer, the Zaza, the weed, the Percocets, the Mollies, the strip clubs, the prostitutes, the OnlyFans, it's all going to be burned up in dust. The murderers, the robbers, the liars, the carjacking, all of that's going to stop. It's going to be set on fire, and God is going to make it dust under the feet of those that did obey the Most High when it was such an unpopular thing to do. That's why it said to them that fear the Lord. The fear of the Most High is to keep his commandments. You understand? So that's what this is talking about. The Lord says, I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts. And then he starts talking in verse 4. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. He didn't do this to everybody. This was only done for the children of Israel, only for the nation of Israel. Everybody else, you're going to have to take it on the chin. All right. And now he's talking about Christ. He's giving up Moses. Christ returns. He's saying, remember Moses. That's how we got the commandments. The Lord told Moses to write it down. Verse 5. Behold, meaning look, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great dreadful day of the Lord. Elijah is going to come and warn you before the coming of the Lord. That's where we get these prophecies. He shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. You understand? So the first three are good. The first three are good for that World War III. You can use that. All right. So now what do we have? All right. Obviously, Yagadar's got a question. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 3 through 4. So let's take a look. All right. Ecclesiastes is a book of wisdom. Remember, it should be King Solomon. He's the wisest man that ever lived next to our king, Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. They know him as Christ, which is not the oppressor that you see in those pictures of Christ. He's a completely different man that, of course, our oppressor has lied, stolen his identity, just like every other heathen does, to use it for something to benefit their race of people. All right. So this is some wisdom that he's talking in Ecclesiastes. He's just saying what he said, a breakdown. So, like, can I get a breakdown? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 3 through 4. All right. So these are very deep things in the Bible. The Bible has laws, statutes, and commandments. It has prophecies, it has history, records, and it also has a lot of wisdom. You understand? This is a book of wisdom, just like Proverbs. You understand? This is a book of wisdom. All right. So now we're actually going to start and read the first few verses because they all lead up together to get an understanding of what's happening in verse 3 and 4. In Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1, he says, better a good name. So a good name is better than precious ointment. You understand? Saying a good name is better than precious ointment. With an ointment, of course, you can heal wounds. You know, you got medicines. It's precious because it's rare. It's not something that you can get all the time. That's what makes it precious. So he's saying a good name, meaning a good reputation, is better than precious ointment. You understand? It's better. It says, and the day of death better than the day of one's birth. Why does it say that? Very important. Why is the day of death better than one's birth? You understand? This takes wisdom, a man of wisdom, to understand and explain these things to you. These, what the Bible calls, are dark sayings. Captain Akkad made a song about called Dark Sayings, but this is what the Bible talks about, dark sayings. All right, let me see if I can get that dark sayings Bible verse. Understand? These are things that you have to incline thy ear to my parable. I'll give you a precept for this. Psalms 49 and 4, which talks about dark sayings. It's saying a dark saying because this is not something that makes sense to the average person. Understand the proverb, the word of the wise. It's in the Bible a couple of times. I'll give y'all some of these precepts to understand. This is what it says: a dark saying. Incline your ear, because if you don't humble yourself to learn from who the Lord set up, you will not get the understanding of the dark sayings. That's why in the New Testament it even says, he hid this knowledge from the wise and the prudent. Because if you think that your education or whatever you were able to obtain on your own means that you know better than who the Most High put in authority to teach his word, then that means you won't get it. And he hid it from you because you think more of yourself than the Lord and who he put in charge to teach the people. So you won't learn a damn thing. That's what's going on in church and everywhere else that refuses to get in the Isupk. They aren't learning anything. Here's another scripture about the dark sayings, to understand a proverb, meaning a word of wisdom, and interpretations, and the words of the wise. These are words of the wise, and they are dark sayings. There's a lot of dark sayings in the Bible. It's called a dark saying because, again, this is something you also want to train your mind to undo. We've been taught that hearing or seeing things as dark is, you understand, automatically something that's against the Most High. That's why they tell you Jesus Christ is a white man, and whatever is dark is the black web, it's the dark this, it's the dark that. Well, the Lord controls light and dark. And that's something very important. Before I get to the rest of what the scripture is saying, I just want to make sure you brothers and sisters, especially you young coming in the truth, the Lord controls the light and the darkness. There's nothing in the darkness that the Lord doesn't control until the light comes on. Christianity teaches you that nonsense, witchcraft. Oh, what's in the dark? It must be a monster there. We got to get to the light. That's childish things that Christianity puts those evil spirits on our people. The Lord controls the dark and the light. You understand? So I want to get that scripture for you as well. I make peace. I made the light and create darkness. I think it's 78:49. No, no, Salaki, that's evil angels. I want to get this before we go forward with the rest of Yagadar's question. And then we're going to read that scripture again. Create light and darkness. Is it Isaiah? Create light. Light. Somebody put that up there. What's that precept I'm looking for? I make light and create darkness. I believe it's Isaiah. It is Isaiah. Isaiah 45:7. You understand? The Lord made darkness. Darkness doesn't just exist because that's where evil is lurking. A bunch of witchcraft and voodoo and old church nonsense and black cats and cracked mirrors and don't open an umbrella in your house and all kind of magical, silly voodoo nonsense. These things come from misunderstanding Christianity because we've been taught the Bible by our oppressors who are not spiritual people. They can't understand the Bible's writings in a spiritual language, which to us is called slang. You understand? That's why it's called a dark saying. This is another precept for you to take down just to understand about the dark. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. The Lord creates evil and he makes peace. I, the Lord, do all these things. He controls everything. The light, darkness, the good, the bad, the peace, the evil. The Lord is in control of everything. In Christianity, it does not teach us that the Lord is in control. Christianity teaches us that Satan is fighting against God and God wins here and there. And, Jesus will magically defeat the devil someday. A whole bunch of damn confusion, like you trying to sell a movie ticket. That's not what's in the Bible. Yeah, that's all right. So maybe no, I ain't lose nobody. All right, so let's keep going. All right. So it says, we're going to read Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1 again. A good name is better than precious ointment. We went over that. And the day of death better than the day of one's birth. Why? Because the day of one's birth, everybody is supposed to be celebrating. You get a brand new baby. You get a new baby. It's got that new baby smell, little life. It's full of so much potential. Everything that you could be, and it's a blank slate. You're gonna teach, you're gonna feed it how to eat, what's right, what's wrong. So much potential. You don't know what's going to become of this baby. You don't know what this baby's gonna do. You understand? Everybody started off as a baby. Some babies grew up to be Adolf Hitler. Some babies grew up to be Michael Jordan. Some babies grew up to be Donald Trump. Some babies grew up to be Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, grew up to be King David, grew up to be Moses, grew up to be Isaiah and the disciples, or Peter, or Paul, or John, or Gideon, or Joshua, you understand, or Adam, or Eve, or Deborah. Some babies grew up. You don't know what this baby's going to do when it's born. You understand? But once your life is over, now we find out if you're actually something to celebrate. What did you do? What did he do? What did she do? What life did she live? What life did he live? Who was this person? You understand? We're not Christians in here. We're not singing and dancing and beating no damn tambourine when somebody died. We're not Christians in here. We ain't having no goddamn party. You understand? They ain't just singing and dumping up around and twirling, having fun. No, we're not Christians in here. All right. It's saying that the day of one's death is better because now you will know who this person actually was. You celebrating this baby, you don't know who this baby is. This baby right now, you don't know what this is. But you will know who this was once their life is over. That's when everybody gonna come. Man, this was a right brother right here. Oh man, this brother, he took care of people. He took care of brothers. He took care of sisters. You see his family here. You see his ribs, his wives are there, man. See his wife there. Oh man, an amazing family. He was a great brother. You see, oh man, this sister was wonderful. She would take care of brothers and sew and make garments and do brothers' hair. She would prepare food, take care of the brothers, man. She always took care of her husband. Look at her kid. We got her sons and daughters here. Look at her kids, man. We know her works. We seen what she's done for us, what the impact she had in this world. What did she do? Or you see, man, you know him, he was stealing, breaking in people's houses, telling people he gonna pay it back, ain't never paid nobody back. Shit, he didn't still owe me $30 right now. He gone now. Hell, he owed me $200. I guess we ain't never getting our money now. Like who you were, man. Yeah, he was out there robbing, shooting people. Yeah, man, he was always out there shooting people in and out of prison all the time, robbing people. Remember that double? That was him. That was him, man. That boy was terrible. Man, I remember one time his mama had to put him out. He was selling dope out his mama house. Everybody, all them, they was out there, man. Yeah, he was out there. He was doing all that, man. He was doing all of that. I mean, I'm here to support my sister, but you know, he wasn't no good person, man. It's bad to say it, but the neighborhood, the city probably better off without him. You understand? You got to worry about your car getting stolen. Nobody snatching your purse. You understand? Nobody, giving your kids their first blunt, their first pill. Man, we really better off without him. It's sad to say it, but that's just how it is. What happened to him, man? Yeah, he was 16, man. Damn, out of all these young brothers, man, he out there in them streets. He stealing cars, man. He skipping school, getting high out there, man. Joining little gangs out there shooting people in and out of jail. Yeah, man. Oh man, what happened to him? Yeah, Reverend. Reverend was a good man. What you mean Reverend was a good man? Reverend molested my little brother, touched my little sister. That bastard had sex with my wife, caused our divorce, stole my grandmama's money, stole a pension, everything. Miss, Sister Cheryl went to the hospital and Reverend Jones Johnson. Do you know he told us not to go see Sister Cheryl because she stopped paying? Oh man, yeah, all that money. I was in there supporting the ministry, serving God. And then it came down to divide up the money because we sit on the board. And we found out he'd been taking the money. We behind on the mortgage. They getting ready to foreclose. The lights was getting ready to get cut off. He was stealing all the money all these years, man. All these years. Like, it's better to find, you don't know who this really is. Now that their life is over, you're going to find out who they are. That's the time. Okay, this was a righteous brother, man. We lost a righteous brother, man. May he rise again. Or this was an evil, wicked bastard that did terrible things to everybody. The Lord said, your good name is better than a precious ointment. The Lord said, better is the day of your death than the day of your birth. Because you got the lifetime to make who you are, to live your life. But we won't know what you did. Now you're gone. Everything will come out now. You understand? The Bible calls these dark sayings. You understand? All right. So now let's get some more. Verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting. You understand? Because in the house of mourning, the scriptures say the Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. You understand? When it's full of feasting and happiness, you can't really teach anybody anything. Say, well, listen, you can't do that. You can't do that. The Lord say we can't eat them out and eat what I want. We having a good time. We turning up. We having this fun, man. Nobody trying to hear none of that. We got this. We got the this and that. But now, when you don't feel up and happy, you might be a little more receptive to hear something. That's why it's messed up about it. But this is just the reality of what it is. Again, the Bible is not magic. You understand? The Lord sent his prophets to teach our people something while we are alive. It just so happened that the Jews are black. And when I say black, they blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And a lot of times you can't teach our people nothing while everybody's alive and healthy. But you be more receptive to listen when you out on that street, when you don't have food to eat, when you don't have a roof over your head. Now you might want to listen. You don't want to hear about that smoking up all your money while you was doing good. But now this is a house of mourning. You might listen to something now. See, we tried to tell you before you ended up in this jailhouse. Now you in this jailhouse. We might be able to teach you something. Nobody could tell you anything while you was out and free. You could take a shower when you want, go to the refrigerator when you want. You could go outside and inside when you want, and nobody could tell you. Try to tell you. Can't be out there robbing and sliding and scheming and stealing and all of that. Now you in this jailhouse. You got all the time in the world to listen now. You understand? And it would be better if it didn't come to that, but a lot of times, you know, life ends up teaching our people. The Lord sent his prophets first, but most of our people disregarded the prophets. So here comes life. Here comes the Lord's lessons. That's what it means, the tree, the knowledge of good and evil. Before, we only knew the knowledge of good. Daddy said, be in the house by the time the street lights is on. We don't know what it's like to be outside the house if the street lights is on because we just did the good thing and listened to daddy. We got the good thing. Now, one day you decided to be outside when the street passed the street lights. And now you found out why you were told not to be out there. The crowd changed, the environment changed, the safety changed, the element changed. Now you're going to learn on your own why the Lord said, why you got instructions to obey that you did not. Now you'll know the evil that the good had protected you from. Now you know both. You knew thou shalt not, you're not supposed to smoke. An ungodly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is a burning fire. All you knew was what the Lord said. Now that you had your cigarettes, now you know what it's like to be addicted to a cigarette. Now that you smoked your crack, now you know what it's like to be addicted to crack. Now you know what it's like to spend up all of your money and be stealing and robbing and lose yourself trying to chase a high. Before you just knew the good. Now you know the good and the evil. That's what the knowledge of good and evil was talking about. It was never about no magical strawberries or apple that they lie and tell you in the Christian church. That's never what the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was in the book of Genesis. All of that they taught us is a lie. That's not what it's talking about. You understand? So we're going back to Ecclesiastes 7 in chapter 2. We're going to start from the beginning again. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. In the house of mourning, people are more humble. They're more receptive. They'll be there to listen more. Then in the house of feasting, everybody's full. They're good. They're having a good time. They're able to get what they need. Nobody's really looking for something because they, as far as they know, they have what they need. For that it is the end of all men. It's the end of all men. And the living will lay it to his heart. The people that are alive, they're going to lay these things into their heart. Verse 3. I believe this was Officer Yagadar's question. Sorrow is better than laughter. You understand? Why is it saying that? For by the sadness of the countenance, your countenance is your face. It's your facial expressions. By the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. What does that mean? Well, if you are sad in your face, your heart can be made better. Why? Because after you finish being sad, you will be better again. You understand? You'll be glad. It's I'm gonna try to give you some metaphors. A lot of this is metaphors. That's why the Bible calls it dark sayings. All right. Anybody here has ever been sick? You've ever had the flu, anything like that? You ever been sick? Just give me one. Let's see. Anybody in here? Give y'all some time to answer. Who's ever been sick, caught a really bad cold, had the flu, something like that? Or even COVID. That COVID was terrible. You understand? Y'all just type in. All right. One person. Somebody did. All right. A couple of people had the sick, had the flu. Oh man, it's terrible. Your head hurting, you got fever, you got sweats, your back might be hurting. You understand? You just want to sleep. You're overheating, you don't have a real, you don't have a real appetite. You don't really want to go anywhere. You probably, can't work. You might have to take off. It's like the world is shutting down on you. But then you get that medicine in you. You get that medicine. You get that cold and flu. You get that cold and sinus. You get that soup in you, that ginger ale. You get some onions in you properly, some good strong medicine, and then you work hunched over and man, I just can't wait to get better, man. I'm feeling terrible. But now, once you get better, and once you get right, you get your smell back, your nose ain't clogged up, you ain't coughing up, spitting mucus, your fever is gone, the air smells fresher now, the food tastes better now, your health feels better now because you had lost it for a moment. Now it's precious to you. You understand? That medicine is working. You're more, what's the word I'm looking for? You're more appreciative. You understand? Nobody wants the flu or goes out to get sick. But now that you've recovered and you got that health back, you're like, oh my goodness, this is so much better. I can breathe again. I don't have no fever. I can eat regular again. I'm back to my good health. And oh man, I was doing bad, but now I'm not doing bad anymore. Like that's what he's equating it to. But you won't ever have that experience without going through that. I'll use another example for many sisters that have children. You've given birth. You understand? You've had children. No sister enjoys the back pain, the feet pain, the feet swelling up, the back hurting, your breast hurting, the baby sitting on your bladder. You laugh, you end up wetting yourself. You understand? You're leaking, all kind of stuff. You can't sleep comfortably. You got this whole person growing inside of you, moving stuff around, kicking, doing all kind of stuff inside of you. It's just like you can't wait to get this thing out of you. You understand? And then your water breaks. Your water breaks. You got to get rushed to the hospital. You got to get there. Now you in there. You got to deal with the labor. Some the baby just come right out. Sometimes you in labor for hours. Sometimes many, many hours. Then they got to this. You're eating ice chips. You're sweating. You're in pain. You just want it to be over. They might need to give you an epidural. All kind of stuff going on. You're in the balance of life and death, bringing in a life and damn near losing yours. But then, in due time, here comes the baby. Here comes the boy. Here comes the little girl. It's a boy. It's a girl. And then they come, they clean the baby off, they do the footprint, they weigh the baby, clean it up, wrap the baby up, they put that bright damn light in the baby's face, which is very rude. You understand? But now they say, well, Miss So and so, Mr. Miss So and so, here's your son, here's your daughter. And you're like, oh man, you understand? But you won't. Y'all know what I'm talking about, everybody? Y'all know y'all got sisters in here. Y'all got brothers, sisters, fathers, parents in here. You understand? But going through it at the beginning, like this is terrible. You understand? But now, look what's on the other side. Now you're a parent. Now your mom. Now your dad. Now your family growing. You understand? And but at the time, this was not a great, wonderful, pleasant experience. But now it's different on the other side of it. Like this is just an example what the Lord is talking about. But by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. Now your heart can get better. If you were never sad, what could you not do? What could your heart not do if you were never sad? What we got in here? Aharon, Kenyasa Yagadar, Ana, Sister. All right. Right, Hadon. We got call support Shemagabar. All right. What could your heart never do? Could it never do? Come on, y'all all stars. We got the starting lineup in here. Come on. We'll start pointing some people out. All right, I'll take that. Also, Yagadar said rejoice. We got in here. All right. Be made better. All right. Be made better. Rejoice. All right. Come on, y'all. Give me some more people in here. All right. What about the rest of y'all? What y'all got? All right. I'll type in. That's right. Where we at? 803. All right. Be better. Okay. Seems like everybody's saying the same thing. That's right. Be better. It can't be better. It's like you can't be picked up unless you are down about something. You can't be made better. And that over time, you will appreciate the better. Like, for example, it's been raining. It's been probably been raining for like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. Just about everywhere on the East Coast, it's been raining nonstop. Gray skies, cloudy, haven't seen the sun in days. But the next time that sun comes out and shine, how much better will that sunshine be, considering you've dealt with so many of these cloudy, rainy, dark, gloomy days? Like, that's an example. You understand? Remember, precept. There's a time for and it's in a place for every season or purpose under the heaven. There's a purpose for it. There's a purpose for sadness. There's a purpose for rain. There's a purpose for all of these things. They have a purpose. You understand? That's what Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, was talking about that we went over a couple of classes ago. It says, so now we in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. Why is the wise in the house of mourning? Because the wise man is thinking about the things that the people are mourning. The wise man is concerned with those. If the wise man, we're going to read it again. The heart of the wise, meaning the mind of the wise, is in the house of the mourning. Why does it say that? Because the mind of a wise man is concerned with the mourning. You understand? It's concerned with the broken down, with the broken heart. You understand? Precept. Surely oppression maketh a wise man angry. A wise man, his mind is concerned with the oppression of his people, how his people are destroyed, how our families are destroyed, how there's millions of us in prison. We don't have our identity. We don't have our language. We have the customs and cultures of our oppressors. You understand? A wise man is concerned. He stays in the house of the mourning. Why? So that he can make them better. That's why the Lord gave him this wisdom. If he stops, when you cease to be concerned with what the mourning are going through, you won't be effective in the truth. You and officer, a brother in the truth, you won't be effective because you'll think all the work is done. You understand? Without a wise man being concerned, commanding General Yohana would have just went to go ahead and live his life in America and, make his life be whatever it was. And he would not have been focused on holding on to the truth so that all the rest of us could come in decades later. But he was a wise man, and his heart was in the house of the mourning. It's still in the house of the mourning. That's why we're concerned with our people, because our people are in mourning. There's another precept: mind not high things. It said, rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that do weep. Should be like Romans, the 12th chapter, verse 15, around there. Like that's where the Lord wants us to be. He doesn't want us to be, glorifying and, Jay-Z got a billion, Puffy got a billion. Our mind is with the billionaires. No, that's not what the Lord said. Our mind should be with the destroyed of our people. The billionaires don't need help. They don't need you to be concerned. Puffy does not need your concern. Puffy has $1 billion, the best lawyers, the best friends, buying judges, buying help, buying probation, buying fines. Cassie accused Puffy of all kind of illegal activities, but he could afford $30 million to make it go away. He don't need your concern. Neither does Jay-Z. The brother is sleeping on the streets. He needs our concern. He needs clothes. He needs bowls of food and soup and oatmeal and toiletries and a blanket. He needs our concern. Like this is a theme and a river that flows throughout the entire Bible, that the Lord constantly wanted our people to think and have this on our mind. This is what a wise man considers. But the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Is in the house is always full of happiness, always full of fun times and jokes and fun and happiness and pleasure. You understand? Let's get the definition of the word mirth so we can get a good definition of it. MYRTH. What is the definition of the word mirth? MIRTH. Like I misspelled it. IRTH. What is mirth? Amusement, especially expressed in laughter. What is that? Oxford. Let's check. Webster's. Where's Webster's? Check Webster's dictionary. That's the official dictionaries that we use as the school textbooks. We got the Webster's dictionary and the Zondervan's Bible dictionary. All right. RTH. Let's get the definition of mirth. Gladness, gaiety. God damn. Webster's ain't pulling no punches. Gaiety. Damn. No diddy. Mirth, it says gladness and gaiety. Gaiety. What does gaiety mean? Let's look that up. Damn. That's rough there. GAE. Gaiety. Let's see what gaiety means. Let's get the definition of gaiety. Gaieties. Festive activity. Okay. Gaiety. Festive activities. High spirits. Merrymaking. Somebody always going around trying to make everyone happy. You understand? This is what it means to have a gaiety. Definition of this word. If you look up a definition and you see another word that is uncommon, what's going on here? All right. That's mirth, gladness, gaiety. Mirth, gladness, or gaiety. Gaiety means this is a place or someone that is always trying to make you cheerful. Always, hey, happy Easter, happy Easter, happy Easter, happy Ramadan, happy 4th of July, happy 4th of July, happy St. Patrick's, happy Mother's Day, happy woo, get in the spirit. Every season, they got the hearts and the bunny ears on for Valentine's Day. They're giving out Valentine's candies. They got the green on for St. Patrick's Day. They got the uh, uh they're doing the Easter egg hunt for Easter. They're giving out Easter baskets. They're doing the something for Ramadan. They got sparklers and fireworks for the 4th of July. They're really always in the season. They're dressing up and decorating their house for Christmas, decorating their house for Halloween. They got the whole damn nativity scene all in their front yard. Like they're always trying to get you in a festive mood. They always want to party, party, party. They never want to deal with anything serious. And we as a people have a problem with everything is a party. Everything is turn up. Everything is time to twerk. Everything is time to jump around and dance. You at the restaurant, got to be twerking on the table. We at the White House conference. Kamala Harris at the White House conference. She invited HBCU there. They playing Sexy Red instead of trying to deal with black issues, talking to the vice president of the country, they turn it up to sexy red. Ski yee on the White House lawn. Like always trying to be in a festive mode, never dealing with seriousness of things. Well, the Lord says this wisdom here in the Bible says the heart of the wise is in the house of the morning, because he's dealing with issues trying to fix them, to fix the house of the morning. But the heart of a fool is always chasing holidays, always trying to be festive. That's the heart of a fool. You understand? So that's what it says here in that scripture. All right. So let me know if that answers your question. Let's see what else. What else we got? Any other questions in the room? That's me. That's all for Yagadaw's questions. All right. Sacramento. Chicago. Okay, there's no more questions. I don't see any more questions. All right, Most High in Christ. Okay. All right, Most High in Christ. That was your question there. Okay. All right. So let's go from there. Questions. Nobody else got any questions? Okay. Cheers. All right. Okay, there we go. So yes, there's a lot of talking things there, talking about the state of the black community, the state of course, the Black, Hispanic, Native American communities and families, like how the Lord set things up. There's a big uproar everywhere you turn on social media. You understand? Everywhere you turn on social media, you hear everybody talking about it, all the groups. How do we fix the black community? How do we fix our people? How do we fix our communities? Well, the Lord has the remedy and the solution to do things, to put things all the way back in their order. Let's get decency, why all things in order. Let's get that. The first step to fixing everything is to put things back in their proper order, the way that the Lord has set them up. You understand? There's no way to repair the damage. First thing is we got to get back and return to the order, because as far as our people understand, everyone knows that something is wrong, but nobody actually knows what is the proper order for things to be fixed. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, that the Lord said here. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and we're going to start at verse 40. All right. 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 40. This is actually the last verse in what's called here the chapter. It says, let all things be done indecently and in order. And that order that the Most High set up, that order has been changed by our oppressor. Our oppressor has wiped out the Most High's order and instituted, not reinstituted, but instituted his own way of doing things. And his way of doing things not only has destroyed or wiped out our people in our society, but it is also destroying and wiping out his society. And the foundational way that God set life up, he is thought to change all of this. We're going to go from there to Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25. All right, so now we at Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25. All right. It says, Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25. He said, and through his policy, meaning his laws, his legislation that he creates, through his policy, he causeth craft to prosper in his hand. What is it talking about? Craft to prosper. It's talking about because of his policy, his legislation that he makes with his government and his legislative branch and his Senate with his senators and governors and all of his political parties, his policies that he create cause witchcraft to prosper. Let's get the definition of craft or witchcraft. You understand? It said crafty counsel. Crafty counsel, meaning he causes us to believe something that is not only not real, but is done so deceitfully and decisively that we don't actually realize what has been done. They're doing it to the children, they're doing it to the older, to the younger, they're doing it every way possible that is being done. Let's get the Webster's. Let's pull out the Webster's again. All right. Let's pull out the Webster's dictionary. Let's get craft. Let's get this. Craft. Let's get craft. C-R-A-F-T. To really get an understanding deep of what the Bible is talking about, of course, we have to get the definition of the words that is being used in the Bible. You understand? Many of the words can be common where you may have an idea of what the words in the Bible are talking about. What I've found over the years is that many of the things that we thought the Bible was actually saying is not actually what those words mean. That's why it's always important to check the definitions of the word just so that you can get an accurate sense of what was being written at the time. So when it says through his policy, he causeth craft to prosper. All right. So now it says the definition of the word craft. It says skill in planning, making, or executing. We're going to get some more. Skill in deceiving to gain an end. To make, produce with care, skill, or ingenuity. This is craft being used as a verb, craft being used as a noun. We're going to put these definitions in here. So I want y'all to focus on this, all right, as we go forward. This is what the Lord wanted to be brought out when he told the prophets to put these words into the scriptures, all right? So we got that definition of craft, to produce with care, meaning to carefully produce something, skillfully produce something. And the way that our society is now has been carefully crafted and skillfully, deceivably created this way, solely for the gain of our oppressors and their society. And we're going to walk through it here. We're going to walk through it and show you how they planned this. We're going to get the last definition here. It says skill in planning, making, or executing. Our oppressor has something called Planned Parenthood. Anybody ever heard of Planned Parenthood? You understand? Anybody ever heard of Planned Parenthood? Y'all heard that before? Y'all type in here. Let me know y'all heard that before. I don't see no face. Anybody on Facebook? Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. Y'all type in here. I'm only seeing the YouTube people. All right. Who knows what anybody ever heard of Planned Parenthood? All right. One brother has. Where all the sisters at? Look, 5, 6, 7 sisters in here. Where all the sisters at? All right. Got one sister. All right. So we've heard of Planned Parenthood. All right. Let's see how much would we at. 7%. Okay. Figured as much. Block y'all. Give me just a moment. Gotta get this in. plug this up. This can be cut off. It with me just a moment. Hang tight. Instagram, give me just a moment. Okay, there y'all. Planned Parenthood. Y'all heard of Planned Parenthood. All right. Let's get this up here. Like here. No, lose that. That's why. Upside down. So we got the definition of craft. Said you got skill, you got planning, all of that. It comes into play. Where's there we go. All right. Make sure that this don't cut off. All right. There we go. So now, skill, planning. All right. Everybody in here. Okay, brothers, sisters. All right, we in there. All right. So, Planned Parenthood, which disproportionately targets blacks and Latinos. It was created as a part of the eugenics movement by a woman named Margaret Sanger. The eugenics movement also used by Adolf Hitler to decrease the population of their enemies. He used it on the so-called Jewish man. That's why every year they make new movies about unaliving Nazis. They got a new one out, another new Nazi unaliving movie. You understand? Every single year, it never fails. They got a new Nazi destroyed movie. You understand? Well, Planned Parenthood does what it says. It helps people plan their parenthood. The majority of what it is doing, although it does offer a wide range of services, it is mostly known for abortions. Abortions, which are disproportionately of Black or so-called African American and Latino women, mainly Black women. That's include all the sisters, you understand? Disproportionately. They carefully crafted legislation to make sure that it was not a crime for a woman to unalive her baby. They made through his policy, through his legislation, he caused craft. We got the definition of craft. He caused skillful planning in making or executing a specific outcome. It caused craft to prosper. How were they able to do this? Through his legislation, through his policy. Let's get some more. All right. His legislation, his policy has overthrown God's rules and laws. And it is the fault of the Christian church. And of course, when we say the Christian church, we are also talking about the Muslim mosque, which is just Christianity. If you are Black, Latino, or Native American, you're still a Christian. It's no different. Your diet might be a little better here and there, but it's all based heavily on Christianity, which base their beliefs from the Bible, which the Bible has nothing to do with Arabs, Africans, Asians, East Indians, or Caucasians. Nobody else that is not Black, Hispanic, or Native American, so-called Latino, no one else is the Bible for. No one else is the God of the Bible for. You understand? So now, when we have this, we're reading and learning that he perfectly orchestrated this with his laws. When did he do this? Let's get the law. You understand? Women's right to choose. Abortion law. Women's Right to Choose Act. Let's see. When did that come into place? The Freedom of Choice Act. In the United States, politics, there we go, his policy, his politics, the Freedom of Choice Act bill, which was sought to codify into law for women a fundamental right to choose to bear a child, terminate a pregnancy prior to fetal viability, or terminate a pregnancy after viability when necessary to protect her life or health. That's the witchcraft of it. It sounds nice. It sounds wonderful. It sounds inclusive. It sounds beautiful. But remember, he's doing this to carefully craft a specific outcome. You understand? Carefully crafting a specific outcome. Now, the legislation says to protect her life or health. And when you hear that, it sounds like, well, we want women to be protected. We want their life to be protected, their health to be protected. You understand? There's nothing wrong with that. That seems good. All right? It seems good, seems right. It's worded properly, so it can carefully craft something in your mind that you think this is a righteous, upstanding, and moral legislation that's all about the safety and the good of the people. It's all about the safety of the woman. You understand? Words, his mouth. You understand? It's all about the safety to protect her life. Now, God, this is why the Lord called the oppressor the devil. For those of you that don't know, that may be young, it may be your first time in the class. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's who God called the devil, so that everyone can have that understanding. Where we're saying oppressor, this is who oppresses us. This is who you pay your rent to. This is who determines how much money your job will or won't pay you. This is who determines how many years you have to work before you can collect a portion of the money that you have made back for society, for the city. This is who determines how much taxes they take every time you make a purchase, every time you get paid at the end of the year. When you hit the lottery, if you're wealthy, if you're poor, someone makes these decisions. It is our oppressor. That's why you pay a water bill. The planet is full of water. You pay for electricity. The sun provides power. You understand? You can't collect too much electricity or water from the sky without getting permission from him, because he is our oppressor. That's why when you go to school, you learn his law. We're speaking his language. Our people have his religions because he is the one who has oppressed us for centuries. Just recently, the president of Russia, who is also an oppressor, in his beef with his own white family, fellow Caucasians, fellow Edomites, according to the Bible, because the white man is Esau or Edom. He released the records that the ISUPK has been releasing since the 1960s, showing that Black people ruled Europe during the Byzantine Empire. There's a book called The Russian Icons, which the UPK made famous, that used to be a couple of $100, is now thousands and thousands of dollars. The more the spread of the truth became popular from the work that Commander Journey Yahana has done over these many decades of building the truth back up. You understand? All right. So now he's carefully crafting legislation to make you think this is about the good of the woman. Whose good was not considered in this bill? Just from what you read, who was not mentioned about this bill, about this legislation? It seems wonderful. Everybody loves their woman, loves their wives, their mother, their aunts, their grandmother. You understand? Who did not get mentioned about this bill? Who didn't get mentioned? It says freedom of choice. It's got wonderful words. Choice. We want to make sure people have choice. Freedom. We're all about freedom. We want to make sure everybody has all the freedoms in the world that they want. You understand? Who didn't get mentioned? Who never got mentioned? Who did they didn't say anything about? We got one answer. All right. Who else? Let's see somebody else. You understand? Let's get some troopers. Where's Kazakia? Where's Shemagabal? This officer calls Sapar. Let's get some answers in here. Who else is in here? We got a ton of sisters in here. Who else does not get mentioned? They're talking about the freedom for the woman, the choice for the woman. It sounds wonderful. While y'all type in, I'm gonna read some more. It says, and through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Remember, every word you read in the Bible is very important. It's there for a reason. His legislation, his politics is causing deliberate things to happen in his hands. He's fashioning this. He's working carefully to produce a specific outcome. It sounds like it's just about freedom and choice, but that's not what the eugenics movement was about. That's not what the Negro Project was about. That's not what Margaret Sanger was about. He did it with a specific purpose in mind. The man, the father, the child. I see the sisters don't want to touch this one at all. Come on, sisters. Come on, sisters. Y'all brothers, get out of here. Y'all brothers, quiet now. Stop it, Akim. You understand? Where are the sisters? Where are the righteous daughters being raised up here in the ISUPK? Y'all brothers, calm down for a moment. I want to hear Eve. Where is Eve in this matter? Where are the mothers? Where are you aunts and you sisters at? You mamas and grandmamas, where are y'all at? You hear the brothers. Who is not mentioned here? You understand? Who is not mentioned? You understand? Who is not mentioned in here? The brothers that jumped in there. The head of the household, the man. That's right, sister. The man is not mentioned at all. The man is not mentioned at all. It doesn't seem like this is something that a man should care about. But again, God said, let all things be done in decency and in order. And through the legislation of our oppressor with his politics, he causes witchcraft to prosper. He specifically orchestrates something in his own hands. With his power, he orchestrates it. And then he says, well, the man, all right, the sisters, the father, the man, the child. One sister said, the child, yeah. How are they going to terminate this pregnancy? What happens to the baby? Like the baby has another option of how he or she is going to get into the world. What option does the baby have? Does the baby get freedom of choice? Does the baby get freedom? Does the baby get choice? It doesn't sound like a murder, but it is. Damn. We up on TikTok. It doesn't sound like an unaliving. It doesn't sound like an assassination. It just seems nice and smooth. It's just a woman, her body, her choice. Terminate the pregnancy sounds so nice, so professional, so good on paper. Sounds like wonderful things in freedom. But through his legislation, he'll cause craft to prosper. How does that craft prosper? Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20. The Lord warned us about this. 21. It says, the words of his mouth was smoother than butter. That's politics. You hear that legislation? Oh, it sounds so great, so sweet, so wonderful. Nothing could be wrong with that. The woman, we want the freedom and choice. The words of his mouth was smoother than butter. You don't want all that back pain, your breasts hurting and your feet hurting, your back hurting, you're swelling up, you got crazy food cravings, you're eating ice chips, you can't get no sleep. You understand? You didn't ask for this. You didn't want this. You didn't intend on this to happen. This doesn't have to happen. There's a way out. You understand? It's not back in the day. You don't have to have the baby if you don't want to. There's legislation that legally he's going to give you the right to go and take somebody else's life because that life doesn't matter. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. That legislation didn't seem like war. It didn't seem like war. The words of his mouth were softer than oil, so smooth. They used to call them slick talking politicians. Yet yet were they drawn swords. They were a sword that has been drawn, a dagger, something to go and thrust you through and unalive you. You understand? How was the abortion done? What are they going to do? They're just going to take the baby. The baby just gets set to the side like you in the kitchen cooking, and you over here washing the greens and the vegetables. You put them in the pot to be able to cook this food, and you just, you're not ready to bake the bread. You just put the bread over to the side somewhere, and you might change your mind. You don't want to make the bread. You just put the bread back in the refrigerator for later on. No, no, that's not what happens to the baby. See, they didn't mention what was going to be done to the baby. They didn't mention that. He had a plan, but in your mind, all you saw was freedom and choice. See, God didn't give all this freedom and choice. Our oppressor's legislation says that you got freedom and choice. God did not give this freedom and choice, man. This is what God said. You understand? Like what are the rights of the baby? How does the baby get rights? Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 7, the Lord said, "Thou shalt not kill," meaning thou shalt not murder. You understand? You are not allowed to. God called it murder, but the oppressor, God called it unaliving. This is a crime to God. The voice of God said, "This is unacceptable." You do not have permission from God to take the life of a baby. Because in order to take this living, breathing, growing thing that is inside of you, that is how every boy and girl, every person is made on the earth, in order to take this from being alive to not being alive, they nicely say terminating the pregnancy, the doctor has to go in and do a surgery on a living, breathing organism and tear and rip the daggone baby apart, to tear it piece by piece, like you break open or break down a quarter piece of chicken and separate the thigh and separate, understand, the leg and the thigh meat so that you can carve it up and turn it into your dinner. They don't put that in there. You understand? They don't put that in there. All right? They don't put that in there. They didn't say anything about that in the legislation because he's a master of craft. The Lord said, Christ said in Matthew 5 and 21, "Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill," meaning thou shalt not murder, or to take a life unrighteously. And whosoever shall kill or murder shall be in danger of the judgment. See, it doesn't seem like God has anything to do with it because the oppressor, he's going to play God. He's already who you pray to on Sunday. He's Jesus. He's already the Virgin Mary, Jesus' mama. He's already the God Almighty sitting in heaven. You see a naked oppressor touching his finger down on another naked man sitting on a cloud. That's who's in our mind. That's more witchcraft. The God in the Bible is a black man. Jesus Christ in the Bible is a black man. But through his politics and his policy, he make you believe that he is God. He determines whose life. He determines if you have the right to take this baby's life or to keep that baby's life. When God did not give you the right to unalive a baby, whether it's for your own personal safety, if it's for the safety, God did not give you that right. That's against God. You understand? But through our oppressor's policy, he will change the things that God set up. We're going back to Daniel 8 and 25. And through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Do you know how many abortions, how many black people that are not alive right now because of abortions? Since Roe versus Wade, it is about 20 million less blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans alive right now since Roe versus Wade. 20 million. 20 million. Those are sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, best friends, homegirls. You understand? All of their lives gone. But his policy says it's okay. Like God called him the devil that the Bible speaks of. He didn't say babies' rights. He didn't say the right to live. He didn't say that. He didn't say, what about the father? The Bible says children are an heritage of the Lord. A woman's job is to bring a heritage to her man. That's why he put his seed in a woman to produce people, to make children. God did not give you the right to take that child's life, man. That is a crime. That is a sin. And in the Third World's War, people who unalive their babies, they are going to be in the lake of fire, right along with the preacher. That is why God rose up the disciples in the Isupk, the men of the Lord, to teach our people, to give them warning from the Most High. Like that's a very evil and common crime that nobody looks at it as God is upset with this. Lotto said, I'll put up my own 500 before I ever trap you. The plan for parenthood used to be God's way, which is sex is marriage. You understand? That was the plan for parenthood. That you were expecting to have children if you laid down and had sex with a woman. That's what's supposed to happen. You understand? That's what the Bible says. See, God said, let all things be done in decency and in order. Our oppressor made something else to change what God set up. You understand? That's just one thing. How else did he change that? All right, let's get some. The sexual liberation movement of the 1960s. The sexual revolution, known as the sexual liberation movement, was a social movement that challenged traditional codes of behavior related to sexuality and interpersonal relationships throughout the developed world. What happened with this? See, he carefully orchestrated this plan. That's why you have kindergartners singing Sexy Red twerking in the kindergarten class, talking about ski yee, bust it open, let it breathe. These are babies at the damn birthday party. You understand, with Woody and Jesse from Toy Story, busting it open on the fence, all on Instagram and TikTok. He carefully orchestrated this plan to make sure that by removing the instructions that God gave, which was the traditional value that made cities, that made families, that made communities, that made structure and stability, he wiped it out because he was going to do what Daniel 8:25 said. Through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. Meaning he's going to decide if someone can live or be unalived. Nobody care what that father wants, care what that baby wants. He's going to decide. And he knew the moment that he carefully orchestrated the wording, that sisters would fall head first right into it. He knew it. And it never made it through the Black community to the extent that it is now without the help of a Christian preacher. Enter Reverend Jesse Jackson. You understand? This is why we say the Christian preacher is a traitor to the Black community. Jesse Jackson was a prominent civil rights leader. He's still very known to this day. He's still alive. Jesse Jackson ran for president of the United States. Women's right to choose. See, the Black community did not accept abortion. We knew that this was unaliving a baby. We knew that this was something evil that we were not going to do. But a good, smooth word speaking preacher, we had grown accustomed to listening to preachers like Martin Luther King. Like preachers we heard every Sunday. Some. Yes. And God, wow, and Jesus, yes, and this, and I believe in nice, good, well-spoken orators. And in the belief that you being able to speak well and be entertaining and captivate people, in that belief, our people were led to believe that this is what a man of God is. Someone who wears a nice suit and tie, he talks nice and soft, he's marching, he protesting, he want everybody to just get along, not some angry brothers with boots and braids and beards and spikes and studs, dressed like Mortal Kombat characters on the street, yelling at you about God said you cannot unalive your baby. God said we not Africans. God said we can't get shape-ups. We can't smoke weed. We can't go and take on this drug gangster culture from the Italian mafia. Nobody wanted to hear that. They listened to these preachers, though. They listened to Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson, 1984, the Reverend Jesse Jackson delivered his famous Rainbow Coalition speech in San Francisco at the Democratic National Convention. And Jesse Jackson said that abortion would be black genocide the previous year in 1984. Jesse Jackson said the most important civil rights issue, in 1983, but Jesse Jackson said that a woman's right to choose is the most important civil rights issue of the day. Meaning this Christian preacher, Reverend Jesse Jackson, because all of our leaders are religious leaders. We think that these Christian preachers represent God. No men on this earth represent God outside of the ISUPK under Commander General Yahan. But he talked so nice and he spoke so well. He lost, of course, the presidential election. Roe versus Wade gets passed. Now we are 18 million abortions in the home because our oppressor needed to structure a way to wipe out our families. Also started in the 1960s previously, the sexual liberation movement. It was unpopular for a woman to expose her nakedness because these are the things that God said not to do in the Bible. God said a shameless woman, a woman who does not have a shame about covering her body, covering her behind, covering her breasts, not showing and exposing her body and her nakedness out on the street, not wearing see-through clothing. You can see all through her outfits. She had shame and modesty and class, and they chipped away at that generation by generation, starting with this movement to be liberating. Sex doesn't mean marriage anymore. You don't have to stay with that person if you're not happy. You can go and explore and have sexual relations with anybody that you want. Free love movement, they called it. You can go and have it, and multiple people and threesomes and orgies. You can go and have a ball, have it all. You will no longer have to be conformed that a woman is bound to be modest and nice and dress a certain way. Uh, they chipped away at that generation by generation. And the more popular, he put it in the TV shows. You don't need no husband. You can be an independent boss. You could be Mary Tyler Moore. You could be Cosmopolitan Magazine. They push this more and more to remove the traditional value roles that made you a mother the same time you became a wife. That instead of looking to have free sex with everyone you chose, you found one person and everyone made a family. Well, as a result of the sexual liberation movement, a few generations later, damn near all the families are gone. Not making any more families. The one missing component about sex being marriage the way God set up is sex also makes people, makes babies. But you didn't plan on that because it was all freedom and choice and revolution. He carefully orchestrated it to make sure that the future generations would play right into his hand. This is why God called him the devil that the Bible speaks of. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, meaning he's going to restructure life and society. You understand? The Bible used to be taken very seriously once upon a time, previous generations and decades, even though the Bible was not for our oppressors. It wasn't for the Hamites, the Somalians, the Ethiopians. It wasn't for the East or the West or the North or the South Africans. It was only for the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. But our oppressor, just like every other heathen, took the Bible to make it something for themselves, to benefit their people and their culture. And they used those rules as best they could understand in the Bible to frame a society for themselves. And it brought them great wealth and power throughout the ages. You understand? Century by century, generation by generation, to create the superpower that they have today. But they plan to do this by destroying your people. Let's get some more. It says, he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace, those nice, smooth, soft political words, shall destroy many. Destroy sisters after you done told her to go and unalive her baby. After they done ripped the baby out piece by piece. Destroy our people. Destroy our families. You understand? He shall stand up against the prince of princes, meaning he himself stands up against Christ. He's the king of kings and the prince of princes, talking about Christ. But he shall be broken without hand, meaning he's not going to be broken with warfare. You understand? We're not going to go and get weapons and arms to fight against our oppressor to tear down this evil that he has done through his policies, through his legislation. All we have to do is teach brothers and sisters that if you have had an abortion, do not ever have another one. If you've unalived your baby, don't ever have another one. Christ gave his life for the ones that you did abort. Now, you better not ever do another one, and you better get in here to join the force that is actively fighting against the abortion that our oppressors are teaching brothers and sisters to do. You understand? That's how you fix that. Learn to change your life, become a brand new sister, and leave that old evil murderer alone. Don't be her anymore. Change your life from being her. That's what Christ gave his life for, so that we all have an opportunity to start our lives over and now live the proper way that the Lord commanded us to live. That's what coming in the truth is. That's what being born again means. You understand? All right. So what else did our oppressor carefully craft? You understand? He crafted this. You understand? We have the lowest birth rate now amongst ourselves as a people. He crafted this. America is running out of people. Contrary to popular belief, our oppressor is never been good at having children. Their woman was never able to not have 5 and 6, 7 kids per sister because the oppressor is infertile. His woman is infertile. That's why they created in vitro fertilization and freezing eggs and egg donors and sperm donors, because the sperm that the oppressor has is inferior. You understand? That's why they're taking aborted fetus cells to extract the melanin and extract the DNA. Vaccines were created. They used the blood of some sister to make medical vaccines and things like that because she had a rare blood type that was so useful. As a matter of fact, let me get that sister's name. Y'all type in if y'all know that sister's name. Some of y'all medical professionals, you sisters, nurses, doctors, something like that. Y'all type in if y'all know the sister's name before I get to it. What's that sister's name? uh Black woman with vaccine. Henrietta Hendricks was an African American woman whose cancer cells are the source of the HELA cell line the first immortalized human cell line and one of the most important cell lines in medical research. An immortalized cell line reproduces indefinitely under specific conditions. The HeLa cell line continues to be a source of invaluable medical data to this present day. Henrietta Lacks is this sister's name. Her name is Henrietta Lacks. World Health Organization honors Henrietta Lacks, a black woman whose cells, you understand, were used to consent and used in vaccine research, meaning her blood cells were used in research to create vaccinations. Chickenpox, measles, HPV, polio, all kinds of vaccinations. None of these things would exist without a black woman, this sister. You understand? Like, this is what God is talking about here in the Bible. When the Lord said he made one people above all the other people that he created, just like we read in Deuteronomy 7 and 6. You understand? God said he made one people better. In every way possible, he made one people better than all of the other people that he created. I didn't make this up. God said this. He made all people. Deuteronomy 7 and 6 says, "For thou art a holy people." If you are black, Hispanic, or Native American, you are holy, meaning separate unto the God of the Bible. We are the children of the God of the Bible, not all people. We are holy unto the Most High power. The Most High, thy power. The God in the Bible is our God. Every other race of people has their own God. Have chosen thee. He chose us to be a special people unto himself. And our oppressor needed to stop us from reproducing. He needed to destroy our families. He needed to separate our women from their husbands. He needed to make an independent woman so that he could destroy the family. That's what his Welfare Act was about. That the government would give money to a woman to remove the man out of the house. The government would provide housing, food, shelter, wick, TANF, everything needed. The government essentially would be the new man and throw him out of the house and remove him out of the family. And he carefully orchestrated this systematically. At first, welfare was government assistance and aid was not available to black people. And when I say black people, I mean the Mexicans, Indians, and Puerto Ricans. It was not available to our people. You understand? But they needed, as a part of this plan, this political move to cause craft to prosper, he needed to reshape what was going on. And he used his power, his politics, to reshape how our lives and society function. This is why God told us to never join another nation of people. He said he made us above all the people that he created on this earth. And he told us right before that, never join them. Don't make a covenant. Don't make a marriage. Don't marry into their families. Don't let your sons marry their daughters. Don't let your daughters marry their sons of anyone who is not one of your people. Why am I bringing this up? Right now, America is in a drastic deficit because of abortion and unaliving and another policy that our oppressor created. You understand? Another movement that he made off the back of the sexual liberation movement to promote an alternative lifestyle, alternative to sex being in the confines of marriage, which will get you a family, which will make husband and wife, which is how you make children. He removed all of that, but he had provisions to just go ahead and unalive those babies anyway. He planned this systematically, step by step. You understand? Politics. He ran a smooth game on our people, and we fell right for it, following behind silly preachers like Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. All right, y'all give me a one. Let me know y'all still with me. Y'all give me some ones, give me some cons. Let me know y'all still with me. All right, we're gonna keep moving. Now, America is in a deficit of people. Contrary to popular belief, the only real people in America who are making children are blacks and Latinos. The oppressor has always had trouble having children. Remember, they used to make fun of poor black people coming from the South because we were doing sharecropping after slavery because the oppressor had already divided up all of his land. Well, one of the biggest crops and one of the most racially targeted things that our oppressor would say is talking about blacks and watermelon. Them blacks love watermelon. The ice cream truck song is a racial, how do I say this? Is a racist song about Negroes love watermelon. Negroes love watermelon. Well, guess what watermelon is? That the infertile oppressor does not understand. Watermelon, that rind and the watermelon itself, is a very powerful aphrodisiac. You understand? The oppressor making Cialis and Viagra and gas station pills and Top Gun and trying to get anything so that his inferior rod will work. But watermelon does that naturally. And we were known for having watermelon and also known for working the fields and crops and farming and also known for having big families with 7, 8 kids a pop per family, per household, 4 to 5 for a small family. And we didn't have $100 sneakers. We didn't have $300 worth of braids. We didn't wear hundreds of dollars worth of makeup. We didn't have thousands of dollars worth of BBLs or thousands of dollars worth of breast augmentation. We didn't chop up our nose. We didn't need none of that. And we had big, healthy, gigantic families. And our oppressor despised us for it because he knew he couldn't get Ethel to pop out that many kids because Ethel was infertile compared to Maria and Shemia and Ola May. You understand? She couldn't compete, so they needed to find a way to decrease our numbers. That's where they came up with that movement, and they used government agents disguised as black freedom fighters, which is who the civil rights leaders were. They used them to push this, something that we would never have accepted if not for religious leaders telling us to accept it. Generations later, what is a family? A man is if I want one, not if I need one. I don't need a man for nothing. I'll just have the baby, me and myself, and then we'll just put him on child support. They carefully orchestrated this plan because the government assistance, the Chinese did not have to get rid of their man. How the hell they come from China and get set up in America? Where they gonna live? Their people ain't been building no Chinese wealth in America. They weren't even here. To the extent that they had a town built, America gave them welfare and government assistance, just like the Russians, the Germans, the Ukrainians, the East Indians. They gave it to everybody. The only one that had to get rid of their man in order to receive it was black people. And this was done systematically and craftily. I'm not saying don't get your WIC, don't get your TANF, don't get your welfare. America owes us all of that and so much more that they can never afford to pay. If you can get it, get it, get it all, every bit of it. Your forefathers worked for it and earned it with blood, sweat, and tears. But they planned this. And you sisters and you brothers, but especially you sisters, need to know that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And the reason why any sister has this in her mind that she does not need a man is because the oppressor has caused this craft to prosper. He carefully orchestrated it so that you would believe this. He's been planning this since what? The 40s. Ever since we got out of slavery, they've been planning how to destroy us. Back of what I'm saying there. With us having all of these abortions, families getting smaller and smaller, the cities are running out of people. They can't import enough people to build up America. So they're running at a deficit of people. Barack Obama deported more so-called our Latino brothers from Central and South America than the previous two administrations of presidents, Clinton and Bush. Together, for all of those years that they were president, They deported less than Barack Obama. Someone who black people thought was their friend because his skin was brown, who's really not even one of us, who pushed the next thing that I'm getting ready to talk about that was a part of the craft that our oppressor did to further wipe us out, which is why the families are even smaller. So this is why they're bringing in an influx of people who have a separate culture that's not been poisoned enough by America that they're still having and making families and less likely to abort their babies because they got ready-made families coming from Central and South America that the United States have been starving, which is why they are leaving their homes in the tropics to come sleep on the streets of New York and Colorado and Chicago. You understand? Because they don't have another future set of workers. They have not birthed enough people to replace the ones who are dying. Then you have the alternative lifestyle movement. Something else the Lord told us that a man cannot wear what pertains to a woman. Anybody ever seen those Tyler Perry movies with Medea and all those Medea movies and Big Mama? That is against God. A man is not allowed to dress himself like a woman, not even to pretend to be a woman. The Bible says the effeminate shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. An effeminate man is not going into the kingdom of heaven. God is going to burn that up in the third world's war. Not the alternative lifestyle man together. Just a man that's effeminate. He acts like a woman. He thinks like a woman. His mannerisms are like a woman. He carries himself like a female. That man will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. God's going to burn all of that up together, right along with the robbers, the unalivers, the thief, the false prophet, the preachers. All of that's going up in the third world's war. You understand? That's why when Officer Matazar Qurra asked the question about Malachi chapter 4, that was talking about what was going on at the beginning, those first few verses. You understand? So now, how did they do that? Because if you were a man that wanted to live a lifestyle of being with another man in the 1970s, it was called a mental disorder. They knew something was wrong with you. Mental disorder. Mental illness in the 1940s, the 1950s, it was a mental illness. You understand? It was a mental illness until 1973. Homosexuality or alternative lifestyle is a sex. Okay, now we didn't read that one. It says it is well documented that homosexuality was classified as a mental illness in the DSM until 1973. What happened before 1973? The sexual liberation movement. What were you being sexually liberated from? You understand? Who was getting sexually liberated? Liberated from what? You understand? Who needed this liberation? Great granddaddy, he had 5, 6 kids. All of his brothers had about 5, 6 kids. Many of them had a whole nother family of 3 or 4 kids on the other side of town. And he took care of everybody. Who was getting liberated? We didn't have no problem making families. We didn't need no more liberation. We had all the good liberating we need. Tail was getting liberated. And we had nice big families too. And nobody was on the street homeless. Everybody was getting good and strong and going to school and getting an education. We were moving forward. Our family structure was the solid driving force that the United States of America created the Federal Bureau of Investigations so that they could break up all the Negro unity movements and systematically destroy our family structure at every level. Us having families was destroying America. Every level. She saw, and the senators and the congressmen that keep getting in trouble for getting in relationships with the pages. You understand? Touching the little boys improperly. The Pope touching all the little kids. The preachers getting arrested for improper relations with the little kids. And we ran right in that church and ran right up in their culture and got deeper and deeper into Christianity with integration. And now we ran as a people and followed suit into that. And our communities is filled with child abuse, following right behind our oppression in the Christian church. But now it's no longer a mental illness because they're doing a sexual liberation movement. That they planned for this. That in 2023, 2 men can't make a child. 2 women can't make a child. The women that are getting children, they haven't had, 400,000 abortions every year. You understand? Nobody's making new people. America's running out of workers. They're running out of money for people to tax. The people that's getting taxed is getting taxed to hell. They're throwing the entire cities out on the street. They're taking everybody's house. They're repossessing the cars. People getting Planet Fitness memberships just to have a damn place to shower. They're not building any new shelters. You understand? So this is a coordinated effort on America's part to fill it with fresh, new people that are reproducing because they work to stop us from reproducing and they not reproducing. The Chinese man is not having 6, 7 kids in America. The Koreans, Arabs, Indians, they're not having 6, 7, 8 kids in America like they would be having back in their home country, in their home places. They in here chasing the American dream, getting the bag and sending money back home. Like our oppressor is undoing his own society by his evil and his greed. The Lord called him the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now, on top of that, you got all the STDs that came with this sexual liberation movement because a woman is no longer being with one man for the rest of her life. From 15 and 16 years old. Grandma and granddaddy met 15, 16. They went to prom together. They graduated high school together. And from there, they made a family. They got their careers together. They went to schooling together. They did this and that together. They were together their whole life. Like our oppressor systematically did this for the sole purpose of destroying God's chosen people. That's why God called him the devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? Now that this problem gets bigger and bigger. That's right. She saw. That's right. That's who was to be liberated. Now that the problem gets bigger and bigger, that they've torn apart the family, in comes integration with another preacher, Martin Luther King. They passed the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act get passed. America starts to import people from all around the country. Nobody was getting imported into America. The Mexicans were already here. The Native Americans were already here. The Europeans imported their damn self. Spain went home and gave Florida up. French sold Louisiana Purchase to the United States government for $15 million. They packed up, left, and went back to France. The Civil Rights Bill poured everyone else into America that is not Mexican, Native American, Puerto Rican, so-called black, or for the most parts, someone from the UK, because that included the British, the Irish, all of them just poured into America, got new identities, started their life over. You understand? That's when America started importing everybody. After hundreds of years of abuse and lynching and slavery they did to us, the world gets to benefit off of it. That's why we have to unlearn this American way of life and philosophy and come back to the way that the Most High set it up. We got to come back to the way that the Lord said. So now, how do we do that? We're going to start back to what the Lord said. We're going to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. It says, I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, meaning the head of the man, so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American man, the one that we are supposed to follow is Christ. He is who is in charge of us. He sets the tone for how we move and operate. Christ taught the things that were in the Bible, the commandments, the prophecies, All of the things that are in the Bible, that's what Christ taught, and he rose up his disciples so that they could continue the work that God sent the prophets before him to do. That's always been through the Bible. That's what we doing here in the ISUPK. You young brothers, you young sisters, you understand 5 and 6 and 4 and all the babies coming up here being taught how to continue on the work of building our nation up. All you sisters learning how to be those sisters that we had in the Bible, learning how to put on the proper spirit that God wants the daughters of Zion to have, and to take off this American spirit. You understand? This American, you understand, feminist spirit, this LGBT alternative lifestyle spirit. A woman thinking that she's supposed to be separate from a man's authority, that's an alternative lifestyle. You understand? That's not real life. Don't no woman from another part of the world anywhere figure she's supposed to be separate from the man of her species, from the man of her race. Like, that's insane. You understand? And he carefully orchestrated that so that he can sell you in the music, he can prostitute you on the record, he can sell you on the internet, he can sell you and market you to run his corporations and his businesses. That's why the black side of town was prospering so much. The same secretary that black women is doing in all of these jobs and court offices and government buildings all across America, that is what sisters was doing solely for the black side of town. Sisters was so good at it, they had to go get black women to be the supercomputers to put white men in space. That's what Hidden Figures was about. The supercomputers was a black woman's brain. You understand? Dr. Shirley Jackson made the fiber optic cable so that you have high-speed internet and HDMI cords and the caller ID that's on every electronic device now. You know who you're talking to before you pick up the phone. The high-speed internet cables is millions of miles in the ocean spread across the world. That's how you get high-speed internet. It's not the satellite. Like, God made us above all people on the face of the earth. He made us special. There's something about you, black woman, black man, Latino man and woman, Native American man and woman. There is something God made about you that you don't realize. That he who makes people said you are special above all of the other people that he made and filled the world with them. The planet is full of people, but not all of them are special to God in this Bible. You are special to him. That's why he gave his word, his instructions to us. And this is how we get back to being those special people. All right. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, it says, I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. This is a proper order, a chain of command that God set up from the very beginning of the Bible. From the beginning of all recorded human civilization, God set this order up. And the head of Christ is God. The head of Christ is the Most High. You understand? Christ got his instructions from the Father that sits in heaven. He didn't make these things up himself. He followed the orders that he was given. So Christ has orders to follow. What makes you think you don't have orders to follow? He's greater than every man that ever lived. You got orders, black man. You got orders, black woman, Latino man, Native American man and woman. You understand? Like, that's how we start to get things back in their proper order. God didn't give us suggestions. God gave us commandments. You understand? And that's the first step to getting back to putting things in their proper order, is getting back to the rules that God set up. You understand? You belong to a nation. You are not an individual person. Being in the world outside of what God created made us individuals. You understand? That individual nonsense, nobody in the world functions as an individual. The oppressor functions as a nation of people. You understand? The Arabs function as a nation of people. Their nation has a God, it has a religion, has its own calendar, has its own diet, its own culture, its own everything. The oppressor has its own God, its own diet, its own culture, its own everything. Their own style of music, their own beliefs of what's right, what's wrong. The Asian, the Moabites, they have their own culture, their own history, their own language, their own God, their own everything. Well, guess what, black man? Guess what? Native American man, Native American woman, black woman, Hispanic, Latino brother, sister. You have your own culture and heritage, not the one that you grew up with, not the one that your mother and father taught you. You have a heritage spiritually from the Most High that He commanded us to live by. And because we've not been living by those rules that He set up, we have been suffering greatly as a people. And the steps to fix that and turn back that suffering is to get in the ISUPK and learn to serve the Most High again. That's what we're teaching our people to do here. All right. That's the first step. And Christ gave us instructions. You understand? Said if we want to live, we got to keep God's commandments. What are His commandments found? He got us dietary laws, what to eat. We gradually gonna change what you eat. You may have eaten whatever your entire life, but now you have rules on what to eat. You may have eaten pork growing up. You don't eat pork anymore because God said you cannot have pork. You may not have cared what you ate before, unless you had some sort of food allergy. Now, to change, you would now start to look what's in the food that you're eating. What ingredients are there? Who's making what? What is this made of? Now you have to get selective. You have to become spiritual so that you know what's going on. Most of our people have no idea what's going on. We just think it's party everywhere, turn up everywhere, fun everywhere, lust everywhere. We don't understand what's going on in the real world. Everything around us is preparing for World War III. You understand? Like we don't know what's going on. All right. So we got laws. The Lord said we got laws. Come get this wisdom that the Lord wants us to live our lives by. You understand? Christ said in Matthew 19 and 17, the brother came to ask him a question. They called him a good master. And he said unto me, Christ responded to him, why callest thou me good? Why would you call me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High, which is another example right here of Christ saying that He is not God. Christ is not the Most High. Christ said there's none good but one, that is God. That whole Trinity that the Christian church teaches, that's another lie. That's another lie. The Trinity is not real. It's not God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. That's a lie. Christ is the Son of God, Son of Man. You will hear that all throughout the Bible. Son of man, son of man, son of God, son of God. That's not unique to Christ. You understand? Christ was the Lord's only begotten son. That doesn't mean that God put a baby in Mary. That means that this son does everything exactly the way that I would want it to be done. He's like myself, doing everything that I would do, he does. That's what it means. It doesn't mean he's the only one that God put his spirit on. John the Baptist was born, and his mother, the baby, had the Holy Spirit while he was inside of his mother's stomach. But they don't consider John the Baptist to be God. It's just a bunch of stuff that they made up that they've lied about. You understand? So many things that they've lied about. You understand? Because of the Christian church, man. But he said, why do you call me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. But if thou will enter into life, keep the commandments. You understand? If you will enter life, keep the commandments. You understand? Keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Obey the Most High. That's the start, man. And that's what we teach our people to do here. All right, to obey the Most High. That's what we doing in here. All right, and with that, we up over the time. We're going to go ahead and end it there. All right, Most High in Christ, y'all. We're going to read these security announcements. ISUPK security announcements. We're the ISUPK. We start out at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. If you are not in the ISUPK, you are not in the truth. Rule for new brother and sister. When a brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to learn and shed themselves of the world. After this 6 month period, there's an additional 6 months where a brother or sister will get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. After that 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. That's how we start to fix things in our society. Go back to getting permission from things, having rules, having order. Cut down on all this damn freedom and liberation everywhere. Didn't realize that freedom and all this liberation that our oppressors sold us came with drastic consequences that they planned for that we did not. All right. Tithes, which is a commandment from the Most High. You understand? Should be Numbers 18 chapters, should be verse 21. 10% of any penny of any increase the Most High gives to you, go right to isupk.com. Make sure that you pay your tithes. 90% of what the Lord makes sure that you have belongs to you. 10% belongs to the Most High. You get a stimulus check, you understand, a judgment in court somewhere, you find $20 on the ground, you hit the lottery, your payroll, your paycheck, income tax return. 90% of what you get belongs to you. 10% goes to the Most High. The only way you to give the Most High his 10% is you pay it to Commander General Yohana, who God put in charge of every single Black, Hispanic, and Native American on the planet under Christ, who sits at the right hand of the Most High. You understand? Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Lord's 55th annual Passover coming up, Durham, North Carolina, April the 20th. Make sure that you are there. Pay your Passover fee if you have not already done so. There is a full week of events. If you have not paid your Passover fee, if you have not done your registration, you are way behind. You are way behind, brother. You are way behind, sister. You need to catch up immediately. Do not miss the Lord's 55th annual Passover. There's a full week of events. Full week of events. We got the children's party. They got a gyro ball thing. They got a petting zoo, some other party. They got tons of events. We got the all black party. We got the annual lamb slaughter. Come see us slaughter the Passover lamb, which is a part of our heritage that the Lord passed down to us. You understand that he commanded us to do that night in Egypt, in captivity, where he sent the death angel through to free us from slavery under the Egyptians. You understand? And then, of course, you got the Lord's 55th annual Passover that Friday. So, like that Saturday, all right, the all black party, all kind of performances there. That Saturday, make sure you did all access pass, everything included, $200, everyone over 17 years old. Make sure you are there. If you go into the children's party, you need to be there. Make sure that you have your registration already done. There's tons of things there. And then the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the following day after the Passover, which should be that Sunday, I believe. Make sure you are there. All right. And lastly, if any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, it'll be in all black. Black boots, shirt, pants, headband, war scarf. Even if you are watching class online, make sure you are in your all black if you are able. The only reason you are not able is if you at your slavery somewhere and you have a different work uniform that they require to wear. Everything else you should be in your all black, even watching classes online. You understand? Make sure that you do that. All right. It's very spiritual, very important. For any sister that would like to be a part of the school, or any brother that does not want to be a trooper but would like to be a part of the school, make sure that you contact the school. Call the ISUPK school number in whatever city or state or country that you are in. Call that number. Let them know you want to be a brother in the school, you want to be a trooper in the school, or you want to be a sister in the school so that you can get down. We can get your attendance and everything in order, get you what's needed so that you can take your proper steps to be an official brother or sister in the school. And with that, we'll give one courtesy salute To the brothers, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakathum. To the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Alathun Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Make sure you tune in right here every Friday night. Hebrew language class. Learn to read, write, speak the ancient Hebrew, our language that the Lord gave us, the first language on the entire planet. Make sure that you are here to learn that. With that, class dismissed. Shalom.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, presents the Lord's 55th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th Annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yohana is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Israel, the Israelites